Hey guys, this is Attorney Walter, if not the third. I'm sorry we're a little bit late as per the usual. We're at 8:16 p.m., 8:17 p.m. as the thing just turned over. What we're going to be doing today is going through the phone calls of people who called in. We're going to go ahead and go through whatever questions they have and try and help you out with any of the issues that you think you might need to know about. A couple of quick details. The caller last week, who was basically a military gentleman who was going in for his hearing. I wasn't able to get a hold of you, but you were the winner of the $25. So the bottom line is, actually, let's get right to the calls. One moment. Here we go. Hi, this is Attorney Walter Knott with Disability Resolution PA. Oh, there we go. Okay, good. So this is Attorney Walter Knott with Disability Resolution PA. We are live on YouTube. Remember to go ahead and mute your computer while we're on the phone. And also, please use a fake name throughout this. Now, would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to go ahead and run hearing questions with you?
Let me make sure it's me who's talking. This is Brian S. I sent you an email earlier this week regarding a functional capacity assessment.
Let me check it out real quick. I have like 8 emails from. Okay, so help me out with the email. Is it? Does it start with BRS?
It's BSEAB.
Hold on one second. BSEAB. It's BSEAB.
1024.
024. I do not have that email. Can you re-forward that to me right now? Because I'm not seeing it in my email at the moment.
Okay.
Perfect. Now, while you're doing that, let me make a quick announcement for everybody. Hey, guys, this is where I've been working for 8 years at my law firm. It's become a big success. Yay. This guy right here, that's the first nonprofit that I've ever owned. The official trailer will either be released on April 25th, my birthday, or will be released before that, and the entire website will go live and be open to the general public on April 25th, which will be my birthday. So that's a huge thing because that's officially the first open source constitution for the entire human race is going to go live in the not too distant future. So I'm finally really excited to tell you about that. That is huge. All right, guys. So with that said, let me see if I've got that email forwarded to me. How are we doing on forwarding me that email?
I'm working on it right now.
Okay, good. Okay. Now, I want to make another little quick update. There was a gentleman who called in last week, military gentleman who had his who had his hearing on Monday. I wasn't able to reconnect with him. He didn't give me a call back, and I couldn't find which number was his. There were zillions of callers. So the bottom line is, if you are present on this show in the chat or not, reach out to me with a text message because you were the winner of the $25 for that week. So a quick PayPal email is all I need to send you over those funds, and congratulations. Okay, so excellent, guys. We're waiting for the gentleman to go ahead and basically get an email sent to me. Sounds like it's about a specific disability issue. What we're going to do is wait for that. I'll review it, and then we'll go through in the details you have. I've just posted also the phone number in order to reach me. When I'm on the phone, I'm obviously on the phone. When I'm not on the phone, give me a call. First come, first serve kind of gig. Also, here's the email specifically to go ahead and get a hold of me. That way you can always email me something if you need me to take a look at something quickly, okay? Excellent, guys. Now, looks like we've got a full stack here of people. Very good. Looks like we have 45 people currently in attendance. 12 thumbs up. That's awesome. Guys, if I help you at any point through this process, about every 1 in 2,000 people I ask to leave a 5-star review actually do. So if you could leave a 5-star review if you get a chance, that would be wonderful as well. All right. So, good sir, how are we doing on that email?
I forwarded it to you.
Okay. And let me check real quick. And which email did you send it to?
info@disability.
Okay, perfect. I see it right here. Okay, tell me about the issue real quick while I'm reading through this email.
The issue is that I had to go through vocational rehab process as part of the Ticket to Work program.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to decide whether or not to include the results of that vocational rehab functional capacity evaluation in my next CDR. Because I don't know whether it's going to hurt me or help me.
Gotcha. First and foremost, you actually have to go ahead and actually include, and I know this doctor, I was just reading a report from him about 2 days ago, but specifically, you do have to go ahead and send this in no matter what, because they're going to request it from the doctor either way. So it's not really one of those gigs of, hey, can I maybe send it in? Can I maybe not? They're going to get it anyways. Now, with that said, let me read through this real quick. All right, so now we got to get to the good part. You go to page 2. It is my belief that the claimant has the functional capacity to work 4 hours per day on an uninterrupted basis at this time. He should be in a job setting which allows him to take breaks to change positions from sit to stand, stand to sit frequently, and will for positional comfort. He may sit, stand, and walk as tolerated. So what this doctor or vocational expert in this particular case is outlining is that you have basically a not full-time, only a part-time vocational ability. He's also talking about accommodations as well, which is below the standard requirements for full-time employment being an hour over part-time employment. Let's check out some of the other stuff. The patient should avoid repetitive bending, kneeling, squatting, crawling, climbing, unprotected heights, ladders, poles, and scaffolding, repetitive reaching overhead, running, and jumping. Okay, so that's pretty good. When you get into repetitive, that gets rid of a lot of the unskilled jobs that have, like, the constant ticket taking, the constant price marking, etc. This patient should always observe appropriate body mechanics, which includes but is not limited to blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. Okay, so let's see. On behalf, indicates an estimated residual functional capacity strength level from the hip to the shoulder position to be sedentary light, as defined by the U.S. Department of Labor. Okay, well, sedentary light, exerting up to 15 pounds of force occasionally or up to 10 pounds of force frequently, or a negligible amount of force constantly to move objects or otherwise move objects, including the human body. Sedentary light work involves sitting most of the time, but may involve walking or standing for brief periods of time. Jobs are sedentary light if walking and standing are required only occasionally, and all other sedentary criteria are met. So that could actually hurt you a bit there. He's saying you have the functional capacity to do some of those functions. It should be understood this patient suffer from acute intermittent isolated pain, discomfort. Okay, gotcha. So this actually hurts you a little bit. This gets you real close to being able to achieve a job that would be SGA. And for that purpose, you're going to want to get some medical that basically goes against what this says. And you want the medical to show that you need even more accommodations than what this letter is actually stating. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. All righty, good sir. Excellent. To keep things rolling, I'm going to go to the next caller. Do you have any additional questions for me?
Okay, what about the part where it says that he will have good days, bad days, and missed days of work? Does that work in my favor?
That does work in your favor, but what you really want him to put in there is that you have cognitive impairments, which limit your ability to know to do or limit your ability to do a call no-show as opposed to a no-call no-show. Because if it's a no-call no-show, you're fired. As opposed to a no-show call where you're calling in that you're not going to be showing up, that's where you're allowed to miss 1 day a month. So that if you were to include language like that, it would have been better. Yep.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Absolutely, good sir. Have a wonderful, wonderful night.
Or you too.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay, good. Let me go over here real quick. Okie doke. I'm going to be calling the next person, guys. Give me 1 second to go ahead and connect with this person, and then we'll go from there, okay? Let's see what we got. I just want to see if we're connecting yet. Now, one of the weird things I've noticed is that whenever I do this live, and it's because we're using a lot of internet, okay, we are live right now. This is attorney Walter Knott. We are live on YouTube. Remember to go ahead and mute your computer and also use a fake name. I can go ahead and answer a question or run hearing questions with you. What would you like me to do?
Mr. Walter, you said there were some mortgages that you can get on disability, SSI.
Mm-hmm. What
are those? Because I need to get out of my living situation.
I gotcha. So basically, the bottom line is most of these mortgages are mostly set up for those who are just being found disabled and have some back pay with them. They also have ones who have already spent the back pay and they're only going by the forward pay and stuff like that. Keep in mind, these mortgages are usually in high population areas that are unfortunately high crime areas and things like that, but the program's set up by the local county government or state government. I haven't done the video on it yet, but there's like 6 programs that people use to get onto these low income mortgage based programs. Do you have like a specific question about it, or is it just like you want a general overview? Oh, you there? I think we lost the person. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. Oh no, we lost them. Yeah, we lost them. I'm not even sure which number that was because there were so many that were missed. Okay. All right, let's try. Let me see. It might be this one, guys. Give me 1 second to go ahead and check this out. All right, this is Attorney Walter Knott. We are live on YouTube right now. Give me one moment. We're going to go ahead and get this set up to put you onto the speaker. Excellent, excellent. One moment. Okay, good, good, good. And speaker mode. Now, all right, we are, and the phone call just ended. Interesting. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and take the next caller because apparently that phone call is having issues. So let's kind of go from there. What are the names of the mortgage? They're not like mortgage companies. They're actually they're like county operated and state operated agencies. So okay, so there's a zillion people calling. The phone is literally let's just do this one. Cool. All right, guys, I'm just going to take whoever's at the top of the list at this point, and then kind of go from there. Okay, perfect, perfect. Okay, good. We are live on YouTube. Remember to use a fake name. And would you like me to answer a specific question for you or run hearing questions with you?
I have a question.
Okay. Yep. Go ahead.
Okay, my daughter claims me for her taxes in 2020, right?
Uh-huh.
And then 1 month later, she took me. So when the stimulus checks come out, does she get them or do I?
Okay, so that's a complicated question. I'm not a tax attorney. I don't do tax stuff, so I don't know the inherent answer right off the bat. But here's some of the things to consider. If somebody usually claims you as an independent or as somebody that's dependent of that person, then usually that person will go ahead and have the checks specifically sent to them for that person, unless there's some sort of other detail relevant to their receipt. So like, let's say that you are on an SSI list, or let's say that you are on an SSDI list, then in that case, basically the checks would likely be sent out specifically to you, even maybe direct deposit or direct express card.
Okay, because she got $3,1,400 and so she has one child.
Okay.
So that's why I asked.
All right. So what you're asking me is what's the divvy up on the $1,400 checks? Yeah, one would go to the kid, one would go to her, and the one that goes to the kid obviously goes to her, and then the other one would go to you.
Okay, that's all I wanted to know because she got kind of confused. I think.
Oh, I'm losing you. You there? Hello, hello.
Say that again.
I lost you there for a little bit, but basically, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's all I had to say.
Oh, okay, perfect. All right, well, no biggie, madam. If you have any additional questions, don't be afraid to reach out. We'll catch up from there, and we should be good to go. And you have a wonderful, wonderful night, okay?
Okay, you too, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
You as well. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.
Okay, dear. Bye-bye.
Okay, guys. So once again, a lot of phone calls. Okay. Let's just call the next one at the top of the list. Here we go. Should be calling through. Very good, very good. Once it actually calls through, I'll go ahead and set it over to the system for the, there we go. Hi, this is attorney Walter Rudolph Knott III. We are live on YouTube right now. Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to go ahead and run hearing questions with you? And remember to use a fake name.
I have a specific question.
Okay.
My husband, okay, he's 62, high school education,
Okay.
and this today, as of tomorrow, he has been told by his doctor to no longer work because of his spinal condition.
Okay.
And now for 6 weeks of no work. He's going to have surgery in May. And then he's going to also have to have a second surgery after that May one.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if this is so what he's getting now is he's applied for a 62-year-old Social Security, and he has a short-term disability insurance. I'm wondering if this is a good time to apply for disability now, the SSDI.
Yeah, so what he's going to want to do to maximize benefits, which is what you're really getting at. You're getting at how do we get the most out of retirement, or how do we deal with the least amount of penalizing because he's taking it at 62? You're going to immediately file him for SSDI benefits, and you're going to try and get him found disabled because the moment he goes on to SSDI benefits, from that moment in time that he's found disabled and continues until he reaches his full 66, 67 retirement, at that point, what happens is that he will not be penalized for any of those months for retirement that he was on SSDI benefits. So whatever time he was on SSDI benefits, they're not going to reduce his retirement by those amounts, which means he should be very, very good to go. But remember, you want to file this and get him rolling right away, get as much evidence as you can, because every month that he's not on SSDI benefits, they're going to penalize him for being on retirement benefits.
Yes. Okay. I understand that.
Perfect. Madame, you have a wonderful night and have a wonderful, wonderful evening.
Okay, you too.
Thank
you.
you.
For your call.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, let's see. Holy cow. Okay, we're going to go ahead and connect to the next one. Let's see what we got here. All righty, good. The doggies are right now on the couch. One of them may have snarked a piece of pizza earlier, so she is just happy as can be. It's terrible. It's terrible, but she's living it. Hi, this is attorney Walter Knott. We are live on YouTube right now. Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to run hearing questions? And remember to use a fake name. Go ahead.
I know you already did. I thank you so much.
Oh, I gave you another call. All right, excellent. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, so I'm not sure who I've called. All right, here's some definite new ones. Just Roger, you isn't getting okay, blah, blah, blah. Okay, here we go. This looks like not one that I called before. Oh, there's even more. Oh, there's somebody calling in. All right, that's okay. Good. Very good. We are live on YouTube right now. This is attorney Walter Knott. Remember to use a fake name. And would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like to go ahead and run hearing questions with me?
I would like to run hearing questions, but if possible, maybe give you a little background.
Perfect. Give me a little background and try to start me off with what the top 5 impairments are.
Okay. So last year in July of 2020, I left work permanently due to a progressive neuromuscular disease called stiff-person syndrome.
Okay,
It
that's
affects 1 in a million people, so it's extremely
rare, very rare.
It is a compassionate allowance with the Social Security Administration. So my top 5 impairments would be constant muscular spasms and rigidity. I also have central nervous system dysfunction, so I'll lose like my ability to thermoregulate. I get hypothermic, or I'll run fevers, things like that, because it also is a central nervous system neurological disease. It's autoimmune by nature, so my body is attacking a part of my brain that should be converting excitatory neurons into inhibiting ones like GABA, so I get extra impulses to my muscles. It's kind of like seizures, but for my body. I also have psoriasis hips and my knees, and I do have a form of cutaneous lupus, which only breaks out, it seems like, when it comes in flares. So I'm really nervous. My background, I originally applied. I called a lawyer when I thought it was time for me to leave work. With the neuronal stimulation, I was treated for 10 years. They thought I had anxiety. But then last year in September, 2020 of September, sudden back pain set on, and I lost all feeling in my legs. I lost bladder control at work. It was very embarrassing. I was 29 years old. And I went to the doctor. He tested my reflexes, and I jumped off the table. He said that I had hyperreflexia, and it was neurological. Long story short, I ended up in the hospital with a neurologist that ran that very specific antibody test and found me diagnosed with stiff-person syndrome. I did find a support group online on Facebook that has quite a few members, and they all are on disability. When it came time for me to leave work, I contacted the lawyer. He said with that diagnosis alone and all my medical records, I should be approved. Well, I was denied, so I called him back and we appealed together. And again, I was denied. Now, the first reason I was denied they gave me is they spoke to a neurologist who said I should be able to return back to work in a functional capacity. I called him. He said he did not speak to the Social Security Administration. The second time I was denied, they said, while they agree that I cannot perform any job I've had in the past, which I worked for a bank for almost 10 years, that I should be able to find suitable work. I have 3 of my specialists. I have 7 specialists that say I cannot work. My noises, sounds, anything that stimulates the brain sets off spasms. It's like hitting your funny bone. All the nerve endings just will send me into spasms. And I do have 3 kids, so it's really hard. Sometimes I have to separate myself in the room from them. So I'm getting really nervous, as you can see, because I have my hearing come up, and I feel like this is kind of my last chance to prove to them how disabling my condition is, especially since it's so very rare. I don't think it's very well understood. So if you could maybe run some hearing questions on me, I would appreciate it.
I just have a couple of questions. Did you get a letter, an affidavit from the doctor saying that he never spoke with the SSA?
No. I spoke to them on the phone, and they said that they've never spoken to anyone on my behalf from the SSA.
Why didn't you get a letter or an affidavit?
That's a good question.
All right,
because I've pretty much kept up every record that I've pulled up the last 10 years, because I've had like 7 bad EKGs come back. They thought I had heart problems. They thought, whatever it is, they thought I had, they had a name for it, but it was never, what it ended up being,
Do you have
I had tendinitis, I had kidney problems, I had this, I had that, but it ended up being, neurological, autoimmune kind of thing, so.
Do you have a writing specifically from the Social Security Administration that states that they spoke with your doctor?
Yes.
You do? Okay.
That was the reason I was denied, is because they said they spoke to my physicians and they listed all my physicians, which was pretty much just a mock of everything I gave them. I listed to them all my specialists. I had 6 specialists at the time, cardiologists, dermatologists, you name it. But they said they spoke to my doctors, and they stated that I should be able to return to work in a functional capacity. I called every one of them, and none of them had spoken to and my general physician's really upset about it. My neurologist is really upset about it because he's like, you're extremely disabled, so.
Quick question.
When I called the lawyer back, he wasn't surprised. He said, well, most cases are denied. They just want to see how long you can go. Maybe if you can get up on your feet and go back to work. I said, I love my job. Like, that was the hardest thing I ever had to do was quit my job, But anyway.
Quick question. Do you have that letter where they stated that with you? Because usually they don't use the terminology that they spoke with your doctors. Usually what they do is they reference your medical documentation that they feel in combination with theirs that you're able to go back to doing, unskilled work. So do you have that letter with you?
I do. It might take me just a second to get it.
Take a second, find it, because I think there's an issue here that we need to go into before we run the questions.
All right, 1 second.
Yeah, take your time. And I'm just going to make a quick announcement to the people who are in the chat session. So guys, very, very important, since Cheyenne will usually give me some crap, I'm going to give her some crap. A little moment here. She is going to be picking up a brand new little baby boy puppy tomorrow. Absolutely adorable. And you should all congratulate her on that. All right.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, madam.
I apologize. My children were in the background.
Yeah.
Had to run inside real quick.
Sure.
All right, let's see. I'm also in a research study with the Neurological Institute because my condition's so rare.
Yeah, that one's super rare, and it's on the list. Yeah, and as you said, it's on the CAL. So, but walk me through. Read for me the statements they made specifically from the denial letter.
Let's see. They seem to be working really quickly now that I have the lawyer working on my behalf. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it says, the decision on your case, the following reports were used to decide this claim. And it says, my doctor report received date. And it goes through several clinics and it has dates. And it says, you said that you became disabled on July 3rd, 2020 because of stiff person syndrome, positive GAD65 antibodies, muscle spasticity, rigidity, Raynaud's disease, circulatory and central nervous system dysfunction, vasospasms, neuropathy and nerve pain, loss of bladder control, pins, needles, anxiety, extreme startle, reflexia and reflexes to light sound, elevated and unstable blood pressure without hypertension, being chronic, low, high body temperature, thermoregulation problems, heart arrhythmia, lightheadedness, passing out, and weakness. The medical evidence shows that you have pain and some weakness that makes it difficult for you to perform certain types of work. However, you are able to still move around and lift objects well enough to perform most basic work-related activities. Although you have a history of problems, you are able to think, communicate, and care for your own needs. There are no other conditions you alleged that are severe enough to be considered disabling. Your condition results in some limitations in your ability to perform work-related activities. We've determined that your condition is not severe enough to keep you from working. That was the first time that I was in, but it listed the doctors and it said that they received evidence from them. And like I said, I called the clinics, I called the doctors. They said they've never spoken to them. They've never related to them on my behalf. So it's kind of confusing.
Now, let me ask you this. Where does that letter state that they said to the SSA that you could do basically lesser jobs?
Okay, that would be the second denial. That was the appeal.
All right, I'll bet you a shiny nickel that doesn't say that as well. And here's why. You got to remember, it's not just your doctors that they talk to. It's also the MCPCs, the medical consultants, and the MEs, the medical experts that they send you to. So did they send you to a medical expert throughout this process where you physically went to one of their doctors?
They have not, no.
Okay.
They've just been processing my cases, denying them, and then, of course, now they're pushing through with the hearing. I've been getting letters in the mail that I'm having to sign and acknowledge that I'm getting a teleconference coming up. So it's happening soon. I spoke to my lawyer, my case manager, and she did say that it should be happening very soon.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So here's kind of the bottom line. Somebody somewhere either didn't want to work on the claim, being the DDS rep, or the DDS rep's manager.
That's what they're thinking.
Yeah, it's either that or the DDS rep's manager basically went ahead and denied the DDS's. So there's two people you got to worry about at the SSA DDS level. There's the DDS rep that's working up the claim, and then there's the DDS manager who can go ahead and say, nope, we're going to deny this one. So the bottom line is, all right, okay. Let me ask you this.
I mean, I've been through chemotherapy. I've been on medications. I think it's because I was still seeing a doctor. I was progressing, and I don't know if maybe I applied so early that they were like, well, let's see how treatment goes. She started chemotherapy, like, you know, but then the second time I appealed is when I had 3 doctors write saying I cannot work. Like, she's fall risk. She, you know, the spasms in her legs. She can't perform basic functions. My hand locks up. I can't type. I can't do much of anything. Pretty much any time I put a muscle under tension, the problem is I don't have GABA in my brain, which is your inhibitor. That's what allows it to relax. That's why I have the rigidity. It's a fun condition.
All right. Now, do you want me to go ahead and be easy on you with these questions, or do you want me to be tough on you?
I want you to be pretty tough because I feel like they've given me a pretty tough time. And I think it's just due to my age. I'm 31 now. So I've been dealing with this for 10 years. It just took me to where it was so obviously neurological. They couldn't say it was anxiety anymore.
Well, the people in the chat session said, be tough. So I guess
that's all I can. Look, my house is flooded 3 times, 6 foot of water. Like,
oh, wow.
I've been married since I was 16.
Oh, wow.
With my husband since I was 13. I'm 31. I've been through it all. Like, I'm not.
Yeah. Wow.
I can pick up some pieces.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right. Let's be tough. I'm going to keep the speed up. I'm going to be tough with the questions. We're going to hit them fast. We're going to hit them hard. Madame, what are your top 5 most severe impairments?
Constant muscle spasms, constant muscle rigidity, extreme fatigue. Sometimes I sleep 16 hours a day. Also, I would say nerve pain, extreme nerve pain. It feels like bees are stinging me all the time. With that, sometimes comes insomnia. I can't sleep for 2 or 3 days, so it can be opposite.
Okay. Okay. Were those mostly symptoms or the actual impairments?
What's that?
Were those mostly symptoms or the actual impairments?
These are symptoms.
Okay. What was the original question?
What are my top 5 impairments? Okay. So muscle spasms and pain, muscle rigidity, extreme fatigue, and then I have extreme nerve pain and neuropathy. That's 4 of them. Obviously, I have a lot of anxiety to the overstimulation of my brain, so I would say definitely the anxiety.
All right, let's clean it up a little bit. Let's get a little more smooth. I'm looking for bullet points. What are your top 5 most severe impairments?
Muscle spasms and pain, extreme fatigue, extreme nerve pain and neuropathy. I'm having trouble with this. I have about 50.
Okay.
Hyperstimulation. So I would call that hyperreflexia. That's called startle syndrome. Where little things set me off into spasms. So hyperreflexia and anxiety.
All right, let's try it one more time, then we're going to move on. Madame, what are your top 5 most severe impairments?
Muscle spasms, rigidity and pain, extreme exhaustion and fatigue, peripheral nerve pain. I'm sorry.
All right. What about
That's
stiff
4.
person
Okay,
syndrome?
and then anxiety.
Okay, anxiety's good. Stiff person syndrome.
Anxiety and hyperreflexia. Yeah.
Okay, good. What about depression?
Not so much.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of on the positive side.
Okay. All right. There you go.
Although before diagnosed, I was definitely depressed.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent. Let's go on to the next question. So which is the most severe out of all of them?
The muscle spasms and pain.
What's the most severe mental impairment out of all of them?
Anxiety.
Can you tell me out of those two, which is the most severe?
Muscle spasms and pain.
And why is that one more severe?
Because the stimulation in my brain causes the muscle spasms. It's the same exact thing that causes the anxiety, but I do have a very strong mind, so I'm able to put myself in a place usually where I can get away from triggers. The physical side of it, I cannot escape.
Okay. So if I asked you to do vacuuming, if I asked you to do, sweeping, or asked you to do mopping, would you be able to do those functions?
No.
Okay. Why not?
The last time I attempted sweeping and mopping, I was on my couch for about 3 days with a arm that was so locked up, I couldn't even move it. It was very painful. Just from putting the back and forth tension, the repetitive motion, my brain won't let my muscle relax and contract. It just wants to contract.
Okay. Do you have any licenses, permits, or allowances on behalf of the federal, state, or county government?
No.
No? Okay, none at all. Okay. Do you have a driver's license?
I do.
You do. Do you own a car?
I do.
Are you able to drive?
I do, only to my doctor's appointments.
How far away are your
About once a
doctors?
month. 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Okay. Where's the grocery store? How far away is that?
The grocery store is about 5 minutes from my house, and we go on the weekends. My husband drives.
How many doctors do you have?
I believe 6.
I'm guessing some of those are a bit farther than 10 minutes away.
No, they're all located right outside my city.
Right outside the city. Okay.
All within 10 minutes.
Okay. So when it comes to walking around a store, I'm assuming you're okay with that, like grocery shopping?
Well, I have a 16-year-old son. He comes with me if I need to go, and he carries the bags and does the hauling for me, because even putting something in the crook of my arm, just putting that muscle into contraction will cause me pain and nerve pain. See, because when my muscles contract, they squeeze on the nerves, and that's where that comes in. And circulation comes with the Raynaud's and whatnot. But we go maybe twice a month. It was once a week, now it's twice a month. We just load up.
Okay. Gotcha.
Do big stock. If we got a family of 5.
Oh, wow. Okay. Gotcha. So let me ask you this. When it comes to walking, I'm assuming you don't have any fall risk issues. You're able to keep your balance, things like that?
Honestly, because of it being neurological and stimulatory, the more stressed I am, if I'm in loud environments where I'm just physically stressed, mentally stressed, my condition worsens. That's why I have to stay where it's quiet, where it's calm. That's why pretty much any job I've ever worked at has exaggerated my symptoms. Unexpected noises. It's like someone that jumps out behind a door and scares you. That's somebody dropping a pin on the floor. My heart will race. My muscles will start spasming. So I try to stay out of public places as much as I can. When I do go grocery shopping, of course, I make sure and take my medicine as I need it. And try to do what I can do. But walking isn't a problem for me, because walking mainly gives me the stiffness in the legs. So it's when I go to lay down that I start feeling all the pain from the walking. I can go about 200 feet before I start feeling my calf spasm. It's the muscle knots that hurt when you get them out. It's a fluctuating disease. You go from spasms to rigidity. So sometimes my muscles are spasming, but sometimes they get rigid. Walking causes my legs to be rigid. It's like Tin Man syndrome. You walk like sticks. I mean,
Mhm.
I can walk a little bit, but then my back will start spasming, things like that. So we go to the small grocery store. We go twice a month. I do what I can do to get out and just keep my muscles going. I've lost 33 pounds. I weighed 127. I weigh 98 pounds now, and it's just from muscle wasting and chemotherapy. So I'm trying not to lose any muscles and do what I can do. But forms of exercise are off the table. Like, I can't exercise, so it's a problem.
Okay, understood. Help me out with this. So, to my understanding, and I understand this, you're not a fall risk. The walking helps you. How far do you think you could walk before you have to stop and rest?
About 200 feet.
About 200 feet, okay. And can you walk me through this? Once you stop and rest, how long do you have to rest for before you can start walking again?
Well, normally, so I'll sit down and I will literally take my hands and I'll feel along my calves and I'll feel along my thighs. And if there's any muscles that are twitching or knotting, I'll push my elbow into them and try to get them to relax, because it's when they're starting to start spasming, once they start doing that and they lock up, that's when I have the most pain. If I can kind of disrupt that nerve signaling in about 5 to 7 minutes, I can get up and go a little further. Now, they're going to do what they're going to do anyway, and when I do get home, the spasms, rigidity, they don't ever stop. But, I mean, it's just part of my life. Pain is something I've had to deal with. It became just such an issue at work. Like I said, I loved my job to death. I loved interacting with people, but the temperatures, the noises, the sounds, all these unexpected, spontaneous stimulations were just setting me off left and right. And at home, it's gotten worse. I think it just has to do with progression, because I kept telling myself, well, it'll be better at home. I can stay in a heated blanket. I went to the hospital because I was hypothermic at work. I got down to 93 degrees, and when I got there, 5 minutes from my work, they told me I was running fever, and I'm like, I don't have COVID. Just hold on a minute. This is just, they thought it was the craziest thing they ever saw, but then I went down to 98 degrees, and they're like, okay, and like, yeah, so.
Okay. All right, walk me through this.
I can walk, but my neurologist did tell me that he would probably like to see me start using a cane, because my lower back is so stiff and my legs are walking so stiff. My right knee started buckling a lot to where it feels like it's going to give. And he said that that's a definite fall risk, and he did notate that.
Okay. So are you prescribed any ambulatory devices?
No, but I just purchased a cane off of Amazon because I have been buckling a lot at the house. And I think it's just because I've been resting and laying more. I'm not using my legs as much because I want to stay out of that stiffness, spasticity cycle. I have spasms when I lay. I have stiffness when I use my muscles. I got to pick or choose some days,
Now, after you've walked 200 feet and then you've rested for about 6 minutes, how many times could you repeat over an 8-hour workday walking that 200 feet and resting for 6 minutes?
I couldn't. I ended up leaving and going to the hospital 4 or 5 times the last 2 months I was at work because I was trying to push myself through the pain. And it was worse than childbirth. And they would have me sit down. I couldn't do the job when I was sitting down. I actually left the bank I worked at, and I went to work with my husband for 2 months because he's an accountant for a car dealership. And if I needed to go to the hospital, he could take me. And that's when I was first prescribed my first medication. And I thought, well, I'm actually doing a little better. So I went back to the bank that I worked for. And I worked from March to July. July ended up having to leave permanently. But because I took that 2 months, they labeled me as a rehire. Based on it being a pre-existing condition, even though I was with them for 8 years, because I left for 2 months.
Okay.
So.
All right. All right. I understand that. All right. Now, let me ask you this. I'm not just asking you this because you're a female, but do you know how far 200 feet is?
I've kind of paced it between my house and 3 neighbors down.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's how far I can get before I have to stop. And I mainly do it just so my little girl can ride her bike.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Sorry.
All right. No, that's fine. Okay. So the testimony you're giving me gives me enough information for the musculoskeletal limitations to find you not disabled. Let me point out some of the issues, and I want to make a general statement here. I thought President Biden was going to be somebody that was very pro SSA. Unfortunately, at this time, he just came out with the new listings for the musculoskeletal 1.0s. And basically, it became a much more significantly difficult listing now for people to get through on musculoskeletal-based limitations. So President Biden, through Commissioner Saul, has basically made a large chunk of types of disabilities extremely difficult to get onto disability benefits. So first and foremost, just because you have a cane doesn't mean that you're prescribed it, which means there's no objective evidence showing that you have a need for the cane. And a cane isn't really worth much anymore since the listings changed on April 2nd via President Biden and Commissioner Saul. So at this point, what that means is basically you're going to need either a walker with a seat where both hands have to be utilizing it to get around, or you're going to need a wheelchair. That's the kind of level.
Like I said, I lay on the couch about 10 to 16 hours a day because I'm not that good at getting around. But
how?
I knew that I was truly disabled when I wasn't able to pick up my little girl anymore. And I spent the first 3 years of her life fixing this house after we flooded. And I missed her childhood because of that. She's 6 now. And the last 2 or 3 years I've been dealing with this. And I said, now that we're done with the house, I can't even pick her up. And it's just something that I have to deal with. You know, I can't pick up things. Typing got bad at work originally. The repetitive motion with my right hand, because it's my dominant hand, I started trying to use my left hand, and then my left hand will start locking up.
Okay.
It started
Now,
with 2 hours.
Let me jump in. Let me jump in.
Okay.
You're all over the place. You got to keep it straightforward, bullet points. Otherwise, the judge is going to get very cranky with you, because this is not a your show.
Yes.
This is not a your emotional. I'm going to, this is getting as much information into that judge as possible to get the judge to like you and also believe that you can't do the physical functional requirements and mental requirements of disability. So let's hit this thing again. All right. So I'm going to hit you with some trick questions here. So, okay, you don't really need a walker or a wheelchair, correct? You're able to basically get around with just a cane.
I can get around with a cane when I need to.
Okay. What does that mean
But
when
I
you need to?
mostly don't go anywhere because I mostly don't go anywhere. I'm not able to around my house. I can get to the bathroom. I walk down the walls and things like that. But I do grab onto things. And my neurologist did tell me that I need a cane and that I'm a fall risk.
Did he prescribe it to you?
So he did not prescribe it to me. We talked about it at my last appointment, and I have one coming up this month.
Okay, so there's no objective evidence. Okay, that a cane was needed.
Not yet. It's kind of
Okay.
progressing.
Gotcha. Let me ask you this: when it comes to being able to, basically sit down, how long can you sit in a chair before you have to change positions, stand up, or lay down?
I change positions about every 10 minutes because if I don't, my gluteal muscles in my back will start spasming on one side more than the other.
Mm-hmm.
I don't sleep through the night. I sleep every 3 hours and I wake up. Every 3 hours and I wake up.
Walk me through a standard day. What does that usually look like?
My 16-year-old wakes me up. I'm not able to have an alarm on my phone because I'll literally wake up in spasms due to the startling noise. He wakes me up and I go and I sit on the couch. I have my daughter's clothes laid out from my husband from the day before for her to go to school because I do have 3 kids, but my 11-year-old and 16-year-old, they pretty much dress themselves, so they go off to school. I sleep all day, and wait for them to get home from the bus.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Okay.
cook. I can't clean. And my boys, as old as they are, I believe they're responsible.
What are the ages of your children?
6, 12. He actually just turned 12, and 16.
Okay. What are the chores that they do around the house?
They wash dishes. They fold clothes. Floors to me aren't a big issue. They get done like twice a month. My husband helps a lot out. He helps a lot. He's actually left his full-time job and went to a part-time job to be able to help take care of me.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what are the things that you do around the house?
I mostly watch the news and watch TV, try to educate myself.
Mm-hmm.
I research a lot about my condition,
Mm-hmm.
trying to find ways that maybe the doctors could be missing, things that maybe I could do to benefit myself. I don't want to be in this condition forever,
Mm-hmm.
but as far as I've understood, autoimmunity is kind of a tough thing to fix. So I've kind of been just obsessed with trying to find a cure.
Okay. So help me out with this. What medications are you currently taking? What are they for? And what side effects do you get from them?
Okay, I take baclofen, which is a muscle relaxer, and then I was prescribed a few months after that diazepam, which is a muscle relaxer, also anxiety medicine, as most people know it, Valium. I'm on enough to put down a horse, they say, yet I still have a lot of neuronal excitement, as you can tell. But they make me extremely tired. He told me I cannot take them and be in a hospital every day, or I can take them and I can sleep every day. We're trying to find somewhere in between.
Mm-hmm.
They make me extremely tired. They keep me out of the hospital. They keep the spasms to the point to where I'm not in the hospital every day. I still have a lot of pain. That's why he's wanting me to do chemotherapy or IVIG.
Mm-hmm.
So that's on the list. So we're still discussing other further treatments. I was on methotrexate. I did the chemotherapy pill
Mm-hmm.
for my lupus. I have lupus and a skin form of lupus and psoriatic arthritis.
Mm-hmm.
But that was just, the side effects outweighed any benefit, and it did not help my stiff person syndrome at all, which is what the rheumatologist was hoping it would do. So.
Okay. Going forward, where are we at with these impairments? Are any of them improving, or are some of them getting worse?
They're getting worse.
Okay. Can you explain to me, how does your lupus limit your ability to do household functional tasks?
It's just cutaneous lupus. It's not, to me, a disabling condition. It flares up with rashes all over my body that's itching.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people in the South have mosquito bites, so that's it's autoimmune for sure. They did a biopsy. The dermatologist said it's autoimmune. It has to do with pretty much the chemicals running in my body from the neurostimulation, adrenaline, all that kind of stuff like that. It'll break skin flushing and things like that. But
Mm-hmm. Okay.
it could or could not lead to systemic lupus, the main form. Well, I'm on the watch for that.
Can you explain this to me? You said you had difficulty with cooking, you had difficulty with cleaning. What's so hard about cooking for you?
Well, I couldn't even clock in for work when I left because the repetitive use of my right hand. I try to do things with my left hand, but I'm very clumsy. So the last time I tried to cook, I burned my left foot because I dropped a spoon full of hot spaghetti all over my foot.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kind of went into a panic attack and started crying because I couldn't even do that. So it's the repetitive motions, the little twinges of muscles that you have to contract and relax just to make those subtle movements.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, my brain will stop sending the nerve signals to relax those, and then they'll lock up. And then I'm just in writhing pain from my shoulder to my arm down. Sweeping, it's the same way. You know, it's like repetitive motion or picking up something anytime I engage my muscles.
Okay. Understood. Help me out with this. What were the types of jobs that you had within the past 15 years?
I worked at the bank nearly 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Before that, I worked retail. I was a store manager. I ran 5 different clothing stores.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked over 60 hours a week, climbing ladders, doing shipments, unloading boxes, packaging, you know, customer service, the whole ring firing, the whole 9 yards. And before that, I was 16. I worked at a grocery.
Mm-hmm. Okay, now help me out with this. What was the job that you worked at the longest?
That would be the bank.
And can you help me out with this?
Almost 10 years.
Gotcha. With the bank job, and I want to understand this completely, what were some of the functions there that you feel would be particularly difficult for you now to perform?
It was everything, the repetitive money counting, so the constant motion back and forth, even though you're going a few inches from the counter from each dollar bill to the next.
Mm-hmm.
The repetitive standing, and then they had me sitting. Sitting will cause me spasms. Standing will cause me spasms. I'm pretty much always having to change positions. And even if I didn't do anything, even if I just laid still, I get spasms. But the temperature, the drive-through, the noises, the people talking in the lobby, everything is like in a megaphone right in my ear. It can be a car going down the road or my kid talking to me right in my face. I hear it all in my ear. And when it's loud and it stimulates my nervous system and I get the spasms from that, it's called the hyperstartle syndrome. It comes along with stiff person syndrome. So the environment was just so bad. You know, I'd bundle up. I'd wear thermals. I'd wear coats, long boots in July when I left. I did what I had to do to try to stay warm, and I still wasn't warm enough because my anxiety was so high and my central nervous system took over, and that won, I guess.
Can you explain
But
to me?
I tried to have modifications at my job.
Okay. And the accommodations, what do they give you?
Well, the accommodations were like I had my own personal heater. I was told I can go sit down when I needed to. I was told, you know, if this gets too much, it impeded in my job to where when I started the medications, I started becoming late for work and I couldn't get to work on time, which, of course, really dampened my confidence because I've always been very punctual. I was a manager for years at my other previous job. So my capacity to get to places on time definitely was hindered. If they told me I had a couch to lay on, then I'd be laying on a couch. But the only place I could go was the kitchen, and there were always 6 or 7 people in there eating, having lunch, and things like that. So it wasn't like somewhere I could go to try to, you know, calm my body down. And even if I did, 5 minutes later, if I come back, it's all over again. It's just a constant condition.
Okay. Can you tell me this? You mentioned an environmental restriction being around other people. Other environmental restrictions that we talk about, for example, are hot, cold, dust, loud sounds, vibrations, bright lights. What other things seem to be environmental issues that cause your impairments to become more severe?
Any type of process stimulation of the brain, because, like I said, I have excessive nerve signaling already, so everything is hyperinflated. Of course, those nerve signals go straight to my muscles. So if you hear something, you process it. If I hear it and it catches me off guard or something of it, you know, it affects me, it impairs me.
Mm-hmm.
There was always noises and lights and sounds and things like that. I thought about maybe I can work from home, but then that would be on the computer all the time, and then I have the impairment with my hands and my arms, so I don't know. It's not a job I wanted to leave. It was amazing benefits. Mm-hmm. It was a family to me. Mm-hmm. I thought of other work, and tried to think where I could fit in, but my doctor seems to think I'm just going to progress from here. He said all of his other patients have. So he definitely doesn't see me as somebody that wants to give up. That's why he's trying other treatments with me. But he doesn't think I can go back to work at all, and neither do my other specialists. So
What do you feel
and
is
I know I
the
can't.
Gotcha. What do you feel is the weakest part of your claim?
I think the weakest part of my claim is people not understanding the physical aspects of my disease and how disabling they are, because it's just such a misunderstood disease. Whether it's me laying there being stung by bees for 5 hours in a row, or just having muscle spasms continuously. I don't think people really understand what that's how disabling that is, and the fact that there's no cure.
Okay. All right. So, considering that the person who's adjudicating your claim has a very good idea of the impairments presented, all right. You're very, very new to these types of questions, but you're good at answering questions. And the problem that I'm hearing is you like to add a lot of detail, but we're not getting right to the heart of the matter right off the bat. So I'm going to ask you this. Try to structure the following question by body part and then the pain you feel. Body part and then the pain you feel. I don't want to hear a story about this and a story about that, and you go back to this and the child this, the child that. Just structure
and it's
it.
hard to do because it's my whole body.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Where do you feel pain, and what does the pain feel like?
Are you asking me that now?
You got it.
Okay. I get neck spasms. I get face spasms. I've broken 3 teeth because I get jaw spasms. Very sharp, riveting pain. I get pulsating nerve pain throughout my whole body, which feels like bee stings. I get sharp shooting pain up my abdomen. They thought I had endometriosis for a while because it was like child labor. I get sharp riveting pain from my spine down my legs. I get spasms up my back. I get a lot of gluteal spasms in my lower butt, which inhibits me from being able to bend at all forward. My feet will curl up and cramp up in fixed positions along with my hands. They call it the claw hand because I literally can't undo my fingers. Of course, the spasms hurt in my upper triceps and biceps and things like that. The worst, because I think out of all my body parts, I try to use my arms the most, what I can do.
Okay.
I get abdominal spasms. So there'll literally be 11 days where I can't have a bowel movement because my intestines will be so rock hard. I've been to the hospital 3 times for obstructions because of that.
Okay. What is an emotional story that you can tell us about to draw the judge in to seeing the human side of why you used to be somebody who you really looked up to and why you are now not the same human being that you were back in the day?
Well, I would have to go back to the beginning and say I met my husband when I was 13 and we got married when I was 16 and we started our family very young. I bought my house when I was 19 and I was always about moving up and moving forward and being successful and making our love story a success story. And teaching my kids to not have it as hard as we did. I've always been a very hard worker, from management jobs to positions. Our house flooded in 2016 and our insurance company didn't give us any money until we were 95% done. So between me and him, I laid all the floors in our house. I did the sheetrock. There wasn't anything I couldn't do. Tell me I can't do it, I'll do it. That was our last child. My husband had a vasectomy, and of course, I was so busy on the house, I wasn't able to have that quality time with her as a baby. And then finally, when life slowed down for me, my disease hit, and I could no longer make up to my child and pick her up. She wants a piggyback ride, but she knows that she won't attempt them because it hurts mommy. there's times that I'll even reach for a glass of water and she'll run halfway across the room and grab it for me because she doesn't want my arm to spasm. She sees things in me that I don't see. And it hurts me because this affects my children and then, of course, affects my life. But I would do more than I can do if I were able to for them to not see that. Because I don't want my pain to be their pain. I am a very strong, mentally strong person. I'm just not physically strong. I was an artist. I did exhibits. I was doing really good. Sold thousands of dollars worth of art before my disease hit. Mm-hmm. And I haven't been able to make a painting in 2 years. And it's, something that I always said, if I had more time, I could do it. Well, now I have more time and I can't do it. So.
All right. Now, when you hear silence on my end, you tend to continue going forward and continue going forward. And what you've got to do is actually slow it down to the point where you're only answering the exact question that's being asked. So let me ask you this. Can you tell me that story in 2 sentences? Go ahead.
Okay. I've always been a very strong, driven person that could do anything. And I knew how disabled I was when I could no longer pick up my daughter at 4 years old and be the mother that she needed me to be.
Okay. Try it again. 2 sentences. Go ahead.
I knew I was always a very strong, able person. And I accepted my disability was stronger than I was when I could no longer pick up my daughter at 4 years old.
Okay. All right. You're getting there. You're getting better as we continue to do this. Have that attorney keep working you on questions, keep pushing you through. Review the top 50 trick questions. That way you've got a better shot at it. Remember, always try to break things down to the exact information that the judge is going to need throughout this process. Yeah. You're only going to get like 15 minutes. So it's really imperative to kind of nail it right up front consistently. And now keep in mind, you're young too. You're in your 30s, which means there's no listing, or rather there's no grading that's going to help you out here. But what I think is odd is, basically that there hasn't been more workup specifically on the compassion allowance listing option. I think what's also odd here is that, there's a couple of things.
Well, I do know 4 people with SPS that are also in their 30s, and they're all on disability that I've met across the world. So it's definitely hitting the younger crowd. It's crazy.
Now, with that said, does that knowledge help you or hurt you?
It helps me because it makes me feel like it's becoming a little more. There's more awareness. Most people in the support group aren't diagnosed till they're in their 40s or 50s, just because it's like, oh, muscle spasm here, oh, this and that, oh, you have anxiety, oh, you have this, oh, you lost bladder control, and then they end up relating things to age, chronic conditions. But that last day when I couldn't walk and I lost bladder control over myself at work, that was kind of something that was a big red flag for me.
Okay.
But the age thing, it helps me not feel alone. These people have families.
I'm waiting for you to talk about how it hurts you, because I wouldn't have asked the question unless I'm getting at why it hurts you. So why does it hurt you?
It hurts me because I'm on the maximum dose of my medicine, and I've only been on it for a year. And there's a lot more invasive routes that the doctors want to go that may or may not help me. He's talked about sending me to Maryland to the there because my case is weak.
Okay. So realistically, this really hurts you because the bottom line is...
The age thing hurts me because I know I have the rest of my life to deal with this, and it's only going to get worse. And it onset immediately. One day, I was sitting in a coffee shop. I couldn't stand up, and that was it. my life was over that one day in the coffee shop.
And I think it hurts you because, to be fair, you know that these other people were found disabled. So the amount of effort put forward is not going to be as severe as if you were having to trailblaze on completely new territory. And because what I'm hearing here is you don't know to go get a walker with a seat prescribed to you. You don't know that there's certain medications that you need to have on the record. You don't know about certain symptoms that you should be saying for those medications. You're not even sure what your top 5 impairments are. And of all of that, there isn't even much really defined as per your anxiety. I mean, how many times have you been to a medical doctor over the past 6 months for an anxiety review?
Well, I haven't had any. It's completely neurological now. It's written off as part of stiff person syndrome. 90% of people with stiff person syndrome have anxiety because it's just excessive stimulatory neurons of the brain that control the central nervous system. So it's like all the physical manifestations without the mental upset. But before that, I saw a doctor for 10 years who thought I had anxiety and none of the medicines were working, you know, and I kept telling him and saying, doctor, I don't have anxiety. Anxiety has me. And I used to tell him all the time, I was like, it's noises, it sounds, I'm irritable. I said, but I just sold a painting, like I'm happy. And I felt like I would get, I couldn't breathe. So he thought I was having panic attacks. It turned out I was having like diaphragmatic spasms. And of course, you know, the mental does come with it because the neurons and the neurotransmitters in my brain are going to be abundant. I don't have GABA to take those and convert those into the calming nerve impulses that I need. Anxiety is definitely an impairment because I'm not able to relax physically or mentally, even if I am happy and no longer depressed. I mean, I was depressed, of course, when I heard that, hey, you know, this is progressive. You're only going to get worse. Congratulations. But
I got to tell you something.
I still have a lot of anxiety.
And you have similar traits to Cheyenne. Cheyenne will start out with an empty glass of water, but she will talk herself into that thing overflowing every single time. Whereas I'm the opposite.
And that,
you know?
Yes. I wanted to call you because actually I heard that military guy speaking and he was doing the same thing. And I was like, I told my husband, I said, that's me.
Yep.
I said, I need to call and I need to see what kind of questions I might get asked so I can really slow it down. I'm going to have to make sure, I know they're going to give me a date and a time, and I'm going to have to take my medicine and be at a calm place and make sure someone somewhere can watch my kids, because if I'm even worried about them, my mind, it you know, you can hear it. I don't have to explain it.
Madame, I will catch you later. I hope this helped. If you want to catch in a little bit farther down the line, please do. Review those top 50 ALJ trick questions, and then we'll go ahead and catch up at some further point. Have a wonderful, wonderful night.
All right. You too. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, guys. So that was a really good caller. Shadow is complaining as he wants to go outside right now. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take a little mini 2-minute break where basically Shadow is going to go outside and go to the bathroom. While Shadow's going to the bathroom, I'm going to go ahead and basically just open the door for him and let him go out. I will be right back. Just give me 2 minutes. Hold on. Okay, just like a COVID Band-Aid, we're back. All right, so I hope you guys had a good break. I hope you're feeling great. I hope you're feeling amazing. I'm feeling just super dupe. I've had about 3 to 4 hours of sleep every night for the entire week because I've been working so hard on coding on the spaceconstitution.com website. All right, we're going to get to another caller now. Start getting excited. There's a million phone calls missed. That's okay. All right, we've got one calling in. We're just going to choose that one. Oh, and I clicked the OK button, and here we go. This is Attorney Walter Knott. We are live on YouTube. Hold on, let me get this thing going on. I got to switch it off of here. Perfect, excellent. Okay, and We are now live on YouTube. Remember, use a fake name also. Would you like me to answer a specific question, or would you like me to run hearing questions with you?
Oh my God, I got you.
This is me. Howdy, good sir.
Buy a lottery ticket. Hey, and while I can, thank you for what you're doing. As far as human beings go, I think you're stellar. And I
Thank
think
you.
when you go above and beyond, like I've seen you do it, it's really, really cool.
Thank you,
I
good sir.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, this is my problem. I have been wrestling with a tick-borne illness. I wrestled with it. I was gainfully employed for years. I had to take a short-term disability through a private carrier from work. That ran out, and they said because there wasn't enough information, they could not carry it over to long-term disability. So after waiting about 3 years of traveling the country, going to every specialist, I went, even out in Washington, I got to speak in a subcommittee hearing in Congress about tick-borne illnesses. But there's a new one called alpha-gal, and what it's done is it has filled my spine with inflammation. My intestines have inflammation. It causes internal bleeding. They've had to go in and cauterize to stop. My ribs separated from the sternum because of the inflammation. I've got a claim filed. I still have not heard back from the big company that I originally contacted. But after 3 years, I have finally found a brand new study that just came out within the last 2 months, and it shows the correlation between the alpha galactose and inflammation in the spine. How do I? Because I also have a workman's comp case going on in this, and my attorney has said, "Well, look, the problem is you have something new, and it's ahead of the science, and we can't really prove it." Well, now we have a study, and I tell you what, I actually teared up because this crap, it cost me. I was 2 years short of being vested for retirement through my company. That's gone. I started. I went over. God, it has so messed up my life. But the biggest thing is back pain, neck pain. How do I tell them about the inflammation? I mean, it's all documented. I'll break down the height. And this alpha-gal isn't just a mammalian allergy thing. It's not the red meat allergy thing that you maybe have heard about in the news recently. There's other things that affect you, even to the point of you're going to walk into a place that is cooking something, and you can start an anaphylaxis reaction. I have been to the emergency room so many times. I have had to stick myself with so many EpiPens just to be able to get, to breathe. And now I have this study that can link it, but how? I don't know. I don't know how this is all going to work. Will they accept a study that is? I mean, it's a recognized medical study. This thing is so new. I have been through probably 10 different doctors, and I have had to take them the information and share with them the knowledge that I have, and then they finally, the light comes on, and maybe they will go and read and study a little bit. More times than not, they've thrown pills at me, painkillers, and all these other things. And that's not an answer. So I don't know, how does something new like this?
Okay. So
they're going to look at this and they'll say, well, you just have this allergy and therefore you're okay.
How many times?
How do you?
How many times have you been denied before?
I've never been denied.
All right. So you're just in the initial filing process. You've already filed for SSDI benefits?
Yeah.
When did you file?
SSID. I'm sorry?
When did you file?
About 3-4 months ago.
3-4 months ago. Have you reached DDS yet? I know everything's moving ultra slow right now, but have you reached the point at which they're, getting ready to send you to a medical appointment?
I haven't been notified of that. I do got something funny here, though, Walter. This might make you laugh. Part of this is that that's also messes you up with your memory.
Sure.
It can cause neurological issues. Well, I sent them the medical information that they wanted and filled out all the questionnaires and all that. And after I sent it out, I thought I put my 2 daughters' birth certificates in it. So I had to call them back and ask them if they could go through the file and see if my daughter's birth certificates were in it.
Yeah.
And I asked, I said, so to the point of being able to remember crap, shall we go over that one? And the lady just laughed.